Yo, what is up? What's poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. I am the International Sensei, and welcome to the DOJO podcast, your source for all things fighting related, whether that is combat sports or fighting games. And I am back at it. We're jumping like jackrabbits, and we keep this podcast going like it is a bad habit. And right now, some may be winners, some may be losers, but we are talking about FGC versus the first-person shooters. Damn it, I'm good with the bars. I cannot lie. I gotta pat myself on the back with that intro right there. But with that being said, the biggest difference between the FPS and FGC titles, man, I've been so backstory before I even get into that. I've been commentating Valorant for like the last 2 weeks. I've been like studying it a lot. I've been playing a lot more paladins and like hero-based shooters. Still focusing on my FGC stuff, mainly like sticking with MK, Injustice, Power Rangers, a little bit of Tekken here or there. I really am not that committed to Tekken just because I'm very behind on like the stuff. Like I mean, it's like I'm like 2-3 years behind in Tekken, and I'm like I guess like I'm more of like a party streamer when it comes like a party caster when it comes to Tekken. So that's kind of where I stand. Like I'm great for the events, and I'm great to pair with someone that has a lot of knowledge because I'm good at noticing big moments. But anyway, I've been getting into first-person shooters, and I just wanted to kind of compare and contrast like my experience with both casting of first-person shooters and fighting games. First thing is the pace. The pace is very, very different. I mean, a fighting game, like a round in a fighting game, is relatively quick. I would say like in shooting games they're quick, but the games are longer. So like a match in a fighting game, I mean, at the most like in a preliminary round might be 7 to 10 minutes, maybe like in there. Sometimes it'll be quick. It'll be like 2-3 minutes depending on the game. So you have a lot to look forward to. It's a lot more fast paced. It's a lot more quick interactions. You have to be like bow 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 bow, and you have to do that over a lot more matches, whereas like in a first person shooter the match is very long, so you're kind of jogging through the matches, as opposed to FGC stuff where you're kind of like sprinting through, where like if I'm watching a Power Rangers game, I know I'm like bam 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 bam, I'm hitting with like different quotes or just like hitting what's going on in the match and different crazy moments, versus a shooter when like a hype moment does happen, you feel that energy rise, but it's almost like an ebb and a flow and a very you're kind of coasting a little bit more, and that's a very difficult transition if you're not used to it. Like if you're not used to doing like long fighting game streams and then you go straight to first person shooters, or if you're used to first person shooters and then you go to fighting games, it's a big difference. I mean, like you need to be more up in a fighting game. Like I would equate like a FPS title. It's almost like a basketball game. So where like it's a lot more ebb and flow, and you're conversing, versus like a MMA match or a fighting game where you're conversing, but you're looking at those like crazy short, impactful instances. But it's dope though. I mean that kind of covers like the pace, the style, and the flow. But it's I think that you can incorporate your style to either one. I mean, you kind of have to do that. You still have to be yourself, regardless of what style of game you're casting. Even tonight, like I was doing a Valorant stream, and I just hit like my FTC bars. It wasn't FTC content; it was relevant to Valorant, but it was just something like off the top of my head that came up when I was casting. Just for the simple fact that I've been doing it for so long that I can kind of flow a lot better. I've been writing my poetry a lot and things like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna, not this podcast, but next one I'm gonna drop I got kind of like a public speaking tip guide and things that are necessary for casters or speakers to have and stuff. But yeah, man, it was interesting. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, it's very fun. I got to learn a little bit more about the game, of course, but excuse me, for the most part, it was very enjoyable. The time difference was probably the most noticeable. I mean, you're really never getting a break. Like in fighting games, you have a set, break, set, break, set, break, set, break. Whereas in Valorant, you have your set, and then they're basically just respawn into the next round, respawn next round, respawn next round, until that person wins the round. So that's like probably a good 30 minutes, sometimes an hour of playtime that you're going through, which is a big difference between like the 10-minute intervals that goes with fighting games and the potential longer breaks that fighting games could tend to have, like where you're having a little intermission or someone's like taking a timeout, getting coaching and stuff. It's a little bit different, but it's awesome. I think so. Now, for me personally, which would I say is harder? I would say they're both, I guess, equally as hard. I think that my repetition in fighting games has made it a lot easier for me to go over there, just because I'm very good at keeping pace, and I'm very good at knowing when to shut my mouth, knowing when to talk, when to add to the situation, being relatively decent at recaps, being able to give like the broad stroke of what's going on, even though I don't know the game like the back of my hand like I do a fighting game. But if I had to say which was harder, I would say they're both okay. So it's harder in different aspects. So like FGC, I would say is harder because you have to know frames, you have to know certain like numerical values like numpad notation and stuff. You have to know different moves like a down 2 versus a stand 2 versus like a meterless cancel, all these other things. Whereas like a shooter, you're focusing on the guns, obviously, but you're learning about the alts and different character compositions on the team. So both of them have a ton of depth. I would say fighting games are just a little bit more intricate in individual like character aspect, but especially a game like Valorant as opposed to like a game like Call of Duty that's just focused on the guns. Valorant is like a hero fighter like Overwatch or Paladins and stuff. So you really do have matchups that kind of work in and outside of the game and stuff like that. So I would say both of them are very hard. Fighting games I would say are harder on the little like minute intricacies, and then shooters are hard from the standpoint of having to stretch and having to build as opposed to just going. Like in fighting games, you just go. You go. Whereas like in a shooter, it's like a calm ebb and flow. It's like, okay, well now they took the A bomb site and here they go. Let's see if they can get the defuse here. And boom, they got the shot. Whereas like in fighting games, like, oh my goodness, okay, here we go. He's hitting the combos right now. What is gonna be the guess? And he like just stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a difference. It's a cool difference, I would say, and I think both of them are unique in the way that you can express your casting style in each game, but it's going to change. Like even though I cast with similar elements when I do like Valorant streams, I still do change it up a lot. It's a lot less go hype, and more ebb and flow, and then when I see something, bam, or I come for the recap, or I kind of like bring my co-commentator back in. So I'll bring it back in with like talking about an overview of the match and saying something about the teams, and then passing it back to them so they can go through their kind of play-by-play kind of style. So I kind of add the flavor on my end to incorporate more fun into the game, so it's not so serious. You know what I mean? But it's dope. But you definitely in either aspect you gotta have your knowledge. You gotta know your characters. You gotta know the heroes, the different ultimates and stuff. Like you have to know that stuff. If you don't, in either aspect, you're gonna get embarrassed. I think in fighters, it's a lot less forgiving. Just from the standpoint of like people are gonna shit talk you. I mean, I get plenty of crap talked to me about my Tekken knowledge. I'm like, look, dude, I don't have all the time in the world to learn this game. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm good at what I do. I try the best that I can with the time that I have. And the other thing people don't get is when you commentate a lot and when you commentate a lot of games, stuff starts to like cross over. So what has been happening to me a lot, which is why like now I don't even like say Tekken moves anymore. I just like call the match almost like a fight is I would mix up and say a Mortal Kombat move in Tekken. So like if someone was doing like a button that looked like a down two to me, I would say, oh, that's the down two. Or if it looked like someone's down three, or something looked like a projectile movement in MK or Injustice or whatever, I would say that. And of course, I mean, the way FGC is, like, you say one thing wrong on the mic and people complain and whine and complain. And you have people hopping on the stream trying to get clout and say all kinds of stupid stuff. Whatever. It happens. I mean, it comes with the territory. It doesn't bother me, but it's like, I'm human. I make mistakes. But you do have to have your knowledge on deck. And that's one area in Tekken that I do lack very much. And I will try to get as much as I can, but I'm not about to spend every waking moment learning Tekken. I'm not. They don't pay me at all. Let me not even say pay me enough. They don't pay me at all to do this. And if I was going to commit to a game fully, it would be MK, it would be Injustice, it would be Power Rangers, games that I play a lot more of, and I guess it's a more developing scene. I still love the Tekken community. I still enjoy it, but I think I'm very good for I'm a very good host of it. I would say that. I would say, like, if anything, if I was to pursue anything, it would be hosting Tekken events, and like commentating it as well, but along with someone that knows the game a lot better than I do, because I think I would definitely be like the hype man, the color commentator, talking about things in the scene, talking about little intricacies in the matchup, or talking about like the hype moments. That's my niche in Tekken specifically. In general, I can do that wherever, but I think in Tekken specifically, just because it is a lot. Like, it's a lot to learn in that game, and I just don't have the time to learn it all, and I'm gonna forget some of the stuff just because, like, I have a job like everyone else does, school and working on other stuff, like trying to get life together. You know what I mean? So I do the best that I can with what I got. But anyway, with that being said, FPS versus shooters, both of them are difficult. I would say I think every person that's like ever thought that it was easy to play a shooter or easy to play a fighting game, I think you need to play both, compete in both, and you'll have a much greater respect for the other. And I would say I guess both are equally hard. I think that you need to necessarily like find your voice in both, but keep your voice in both. So me myself, I'm not gonna change. I wouldn't say how I cast, because I did change how I cast, but change my personality. I'm not gonna change my personality. I'm not gonna change my energy. I'm not gonna change like certain elements that I'm, I guess, more or less known for, quote unquote, to kind of like appease the community. You have to be yourself. So I'm like, you're just stay inside of you, but adapt to the environment that you're placed in. But with that being said, FPS versus FGC, what do you guys think about it? Commentating both of them, have you ever done it? Would you ever do it? Which do you think is harder? And now, what is your favorite fighting game or your favorite FPS title that you are currently playing? With that being said, I am the International Sensei. This is the Enter the Dojo podcast. Please follow me on Instagram at international_sensei, Twitter at sensei_global21, YouTube International Sensei. The Enter the Dojo podcast is on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and all of that. Thank you very much, and we must now exit the dojo. Us.